Welcome to today's lesson. Today we're going to be looking at parallel lines and different angle relationships and pairings we have with those. So our objective is to be able to identify the following angle relationships when given parallel lines with a transversal line. So we're going to look at alternate exterior, alternate interior, consecutive interior, and corresponding angle pairs. So first, let's talk about what are parallel lines and what is a transversal. So parallel lines would be these pink lines in the diagram, where they run side by side, but they will never intersect. They're kind of like railroad tracks. A transversal is just a fancy word to say a line that crosses those parallel lines, or a line that will intersect them. So in this example here, the mint green line would be our transversal, because it crosses both of those pink parallel lines. All right, so alternate exterior angles. Let's break this down a little bit. So alternate means switch or alternate, and exterior means outside. So what this is going to mean for us is we are going to switch sides of our transversal, and we're going to be on the outside of the parallel lines. So in this diagram, we have all of our angles numbered, so it's easy to talk about them. So switch sides of that mint green transversal, okay? And then we want to be on the outside. So an alternate exterior pairing would be angle 1 and angle 8. 1 is on the left side of the green line and 8 is on the right side, and both of them are outside or not in between the pink parallels. Another alternate exterior relationship pairing would be angle 2 and angle 7. This time angle 2 is on the right and angle 7 is on the left, and both of them on the outside of those pink parallels. Now, we don't just have these relationships to name them, we also have them because there are algebraic consequences for this. So alternate exterior angles are going to be congruent. If you were to take in this diagram here, if you take this top intersection and we slide it down, you can see now that that 12x minus 2 is a vertical angle with the 10x plus 10. And we know that vertical angles are congruent. So we didn't change anything about our diagram. We didn't change anything about the angle measures. All we did was slide that down. So alternate exterior angles are also congruent. So if I wanted to solve for x in this problem, 12x minus 2 equals 10x plus 10. And our reasoning, alternate exterior angles, okay, we just abbreviated alternate exterior and used this symbol for angles, are congruent. And we could go through and solve this. So I'm going to move my 10x to the other side. Move the 2 over. And then divide by 2. So x would equal 6 in this problem. So that's one set of angle relationships. Our next set of angle relationships is going to be alternate interior angles. So again, let's look at the words that they use here. Alternate or alternate means switch. Interior means inside. So in other words, we're going to switch sides of our transversal, and we're going to be inside or in between the parallel lines. So in this diagram, here we have the angles labeled again. switching sides of that mint green line and staying inside between the pink parallels. Angle 3 and angle 6 would be alternate interior angles. Angle 5 and angle 4 would also be alternate interior angles. Okay, so let's go look at another example of what this means for us. Here we have two alternate interior angles. But what do I do with this geometrically or algebraically speaking? Again, if we were to take our diagram here, and I take this top intersection, and I slide it down, we could see that this 115 degrees is going to move all the way down to that bottom right corner, and now it's a vertical angle with the 12x plus 7. So this would allow us to say that alternate interior angles are congruent. And so algebraically, 115 equals 12x plus 7. Alternate interiors are congruent. And that would be our reasoning. And I'm going to shorten it here, and you are welcome to shorten it as well. And we can go through and we can solve this. Subtract 7 from each side. And then divide by 12. So x would equal 9. All right, we're halfway through our angle pairs. The next ones we're going to look at are consecutive interior angles. This uses a new word that we have not seen yet with our angle pairs. Consecutive. Consecutive means same side. And interior still means inside. So this time we're going to be on the same side of our transversal, that mint green line. And we're going to be on the inside or in between those pink parallel. So using our diagram that's numbered and labeled here for us, our consecutive interior angles would be 3 and 5. Both of these angles are on the left side of that mint green line, and they're inside in between those pink lines. Our other set of consecutive interior angles in this diagram would be angles 4 and 6. Both of these are on the right side of that mint green line and in between those pink parallel lines. So let's look at the relationship that consecutive interior angles have. Taking this top intersection, if we slide it down, we can see that x plus 107 degrees is going to slide down underneath the 80 degrees. These two angles would make a linear pair. Linear pairs we know are supplementary, so consecutive interior angles are also supplementary. So x plus 107 plus 80 would equal 180 because supplementary angles add up to equal 180 degrees. And our reasoning would be consecutive interior are supplementary. Okay. Or equals 180. And we'll go ahead and solve this. So we're going to start off combining our like terms. And then I'm going to move the 187 to the other side. So x equals negative 7. Remember, a variable can be negative, but your angle measure cannot be negative. Okay? For x to equal negative 7 actually makes sense in this problem, because when I plug in negative 7, I end up with just 100. and 180 give me my supplementary angles that add up to 180. All right, final angle pairing with these parallel lines are corresponding angles. Corresponding angles just mean the same spot. So look at the two intersections separately of each other. And for example, if I look at angle 1, on this intersection, I could describe angle 1 as being on the top part of my intersection. Okay? So angle 1 would be corresponding with the angle on the other intersection that's also on the top. That would be angle 5. And then if I want to go with angle 2, well, angle 2 is to the right of that intersection. Angle 6 is also to the right. And we actually have two more pairs of corresponding angles. Angle 3, which is to the left of the intersection, and angle 7, also to the left. Angle 4 is on the bottom, and angle 8 is also on the bottom of the intersection. So those would be my 4 sets of corresponding angle pairs. So what does this mean for us when we're trying to solve for variables and angles? So here's my set of corresponding angles. And again, we're going to take this top intersection, we're going to slide it down so it overlaps with our bottom intersection. And you can actually see that these two angles are in the exact same location and they're the same measure. Okay? Which means I want to set these two expressions equal. And that's because corresponding angles are congruent. So now I'll go ahead and solve. I'll move x to the other side. And then I'm going to move the negative 45 by adding to each side. So here we have x equals 75 degrees. All right, so let's just summarize what we've done. So some things to remember. I have our 4 sets of angle pairings listed in this table. And what I'm going to do is just go through and review real quick what each set are. Alternate exterior, switch, and outside. So these would be the angle pairs 1 and 8. And then 2 and 7. And remember that alternate exterior angles are congruent. The second angle pairing we looked at was alternate interior. So this was switch and inside. So 3 and 6 would be an alternate interior angle pair. Angle 4 and 5 are also an alternate interior pair. And these angles are also congruent. We then looked at our consecutive interior, which was same side, inside. So our same side, inside, consecutive interior were the angle pairs 3 and angle 5, as well as angle 4 and angle 6. And these angle pairs are not congruent. These are supplementary. Which means that they equal 180 degrees. And then finally we have the corresponding angles, which were our same spot angles, okay, or same location. So this would be angle 1 and angle 5, angle 2 and angle 6, angle 3 and angle 7, and angle 4 and angle 8. and corresponding angles are congruent. Okay. So if you just keep this chart handy along with this diagram, it'll be really helpful to you, and that would be in a nice little summary of today's lesson. But that's it for this lesson.